So it isn't lost on me that I made this account specifically to talk about my mental health, hence the username maladaptive growth. But I definitely fell off for a little bit, and that's because there's been so much happening. Ignore me looking off to the side. I'm in the wooded area outside my job. But essentially, I was in therapy and on my medication for my post-traumatic stress disorder and borderline personality disorder, which I feel like I've mentioned on here before. But then I ran into an issue where I switched jobs and then switched insurances, and that made it difficult for me to keep seeing my psychiatrist because I could not afford the out-of-pocket costs. And I requested that my psychiatrist cancel the upcoming appointment, but still refill my medications. I was under the impression she would do that. And then the day of the appointment came, and she called me to ask me why I wasn't on the video call through the app, because apparently she did not cancel it, even though I sent her a message through the app requesting so. And she was like, well, since you kind of blew it off last minute, you have to pay for last minute cancellation. To which I pointed out, I messaged you in the app and asked you to cancel the appointment and refill my medications if that was still possible. And you said you would, and then didn't do either of those things. So I'm not paying this? Because it's literally like 2 weeks prior, right in the messages above, where we are currently chatting, that I asked you to do this, and you said you would. So that was frustrating. She kind of ghosted me after that. Technically, it's because I'm not paying, but I'm not paying because I already asked her to cancel the appointment because I couldn't afford to pay for the session out of pocket. So for the last 2.5, maybe 3 months, what are we in, June now? I switched jobs. I left my old job in February, and I started this job at the end of March. So 2.5-ish months I've been unmedicated. Now previously I was on Zoloft, and before that I was on something else with a different psychiatrist. And psych hopping is really annoying because I really don't like having to explain my trauma to new people over and over again. But I am in the process of getting a new psychiatrist through a hospital that takes my insurance, who is only taking people who are currently already seeing other doctors with a referral from the doctors who also work through that hospital. And because my insurance has changed, because I got the new job, I know this is all over the place. I needed a new primary care physician anyway, so I have an appointment coming up for that so that I can get a referral to see a new psychiatrist so I can hopefully get back on my medication, even if it's a different medication. And because I know I have a history of not explaining all of this stuff to my psychiatrist at once, I'm mostly making this video to hold myself accountable for trying to do that as much as possible with this new psychiatrist, because that may or may not determine if I have additional diagnoses, and also if I'm taking different medications or more than one medication, which I don't want to do, but if I have to do it, I will. Because the only thing I really crave right now is stability. I have a good job, I'm living with my partner, but we're working on that. And right now things look really, really good. I just want them to stay that way. So if at all possible, those who casually watch my TikToks, has anyone else had an issue with psychiatrist hopping? And how did you fix that? Or how did you find someone who made you go, okay, this will work? And then they didn't leave the practice or completely misinterpret what you were telling them and give you a diagnosis that it turns out you don't actually have, which technically can happen even if they do hear you. I understand that. I work in behavioral health. I study psychology. The overlap in symptoms is alarmingly one circle almost. I guess I just need support. I don't like when I'm not on my meds. I'm not always a good person when I'm not on my meds. Not because I don't want to be, but because I struggle with not letting my trauma define who I am as a person. This account is very quickly becoming a video diary, and I guess that's just gonna have to be okay. complete side note, happy Pride. That's also a thing. And this might be the last Juneteenth we actually get off, so holding my breath for that video. Yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to say.